but I didn't want this video to be, oh my god, you have to do these 5 things to become the next millionaire with your art. You gotta do these 4 things, and if you're not doing this by the next Monday, you are failing in life. Lots of effects, lots of editing, blah 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 blah. I'm sick and tired of watching those videos. And most of those people are not even artists, are not even creators. They are curators. There's a difference between creator and a curator. A creator is who creates things. A curator is... First things first. I waited for so long to make this video and maybe all the ones coming later. If I am not wrong, it's close to 8 years that I waited for the perfect setup, perfect lighting. I need to have the big camera. And even though I was watching all those videos about just getting started and improvising all the way, I was still back in the mind thinking that no, I need to have the best lighting, a good camera, all that depth of field, multiple angles, this and that. And today I just thought I'm gonna make a video not only to enjoy what I'm going to do, but also while I'm doing this, I'll share some great examples and all the things that I've learned along the way, which has helped me to draw the way that I draw. If you're listening to me for the first time or don't know who I am, I'm a professional graphic designer, illustrator. I do that for a living. But regardless of that, I have been drawing as long as I have been alive. The farthest memory that I have, me being a kid, running around, whatever it is, I always used to pick whatever there was to draw, and I used to just start drawing. Even when I was in dental school, I was still doing that every single day. And I often joke around with my friends and my family that every single notebook that I've ever had, every single notebook in my life always has drawings in it. There is no notebook that I have ever owned, no journal, nothing that doesn't have drawings. Even when I was in high school, my friends still remember this, that I used to draw on the desk that I used to sit on. So I am going to do 2 things with this video. First of all, I'm going to share in a very short video, try to give the experience, especially to what my younger self would have loved to know, and to any young artists watching this who want to make this drawing or whatever art you create your career and make a good life out of it. So close to 2 decades of that. And then this video is just a gentle reminder, regardless of whether you think you're a creative or not. First of all, you are. But regardless of whether you do something very regular, I want this video to be a reminder that you should sometimes sit down and do something that you absolutely love to do without any sort of conversion hanging on the other end. Most of the times when artists or creators create something, even if they're not selling something or indirectly trying to get a conversion, they're always thinking of how can I get more views, how can I get more likes, and then eventually get the person viewing to buy something. I have a very good, fulfilling job. This video is not to sell anything at all. Maybe you're just watching to kill some time or getting inspired or whatever it is. those two things are gonna happen with this video. First of all, this is a blank paper, 12 inches into 18 inches, and I have absolutely zero plans or zero idea of what I'm going to draw on it, but I'm just going to take my time and draw whatever comes to my mind. And here are some Sharpies, some colorful Sharpies, some black ones, some pens and some pencils, some just colors over here. And this is side note, I have approximately 100 to 200 different kinds of pens and pencils and Sharpies and sketch pens and stuff like that. So this is a very small collection of what I have because I don't have a big enough desk. See, again, I was waiting for the big enough desk to start. I was waiting for the perfect setup to start. That's why this video that I'm making today should have been done 8 years ago. Anyways, so I'm gonna take this blank piece of paper and I'm gonna take whatever comes to my mind, and I'm just gonna fill this paper, and I'm going to talk along the way so you can hear and get inspired with it, or just watch, listen to it, and just enjoy it. So lately what I've been doing, I have been indirectly nudging myself to not erase when I draw on paper. This is a weird concept that I came up with because in my eyes it gives me this quote unquote limitation when I'm drawing. So I have a notebook, just a blank page journal, a couple of pages, where I use the pencil but I don't use the eraser because I love to use pencil on paper, even though most of my time just flies by while I am drawing digitally on the iPad or creating something inside of Photoshop. This is why I consciously make sure that I do something on paper with pen or pencil or sketch pens, whatever it is. But lately I've been doing that whenever I have some free time, I'll take a pencil, and specifically this one, and I would open the page of my blank journal and I would just draw whatever comes to my mind. So depending upon what time of the day it is, and depending upon I'm just making sure this is recording because I wasn't even sure. So depending upon what time of the day it is, how tired I am, how much I have got done in the day, every time when I do something on that page, it's different. And now what I do is I often date it along with the time, so that when I go back, I see what time was it and what day was it. But every time it's something different. So right now it's about 9 p.m. on a Saturday night. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll start with this. So I absolutely love signs and shapes. I often draw people because I love to draw that. I have started, the reason that I started drawing was because I used to read comics back when I was probably 6, 7, 8 years old. And I used to love how there were so many fit characters, whether it was a superhero or a superwoman or a villain. Everybody in the comics was so fit, and I was extremely attracted to that. So I used to put the comic book in front of me and I used to just copy what was there. And I will probably talk about that in detail in some other video. But when I'll show you the comics and I'll show you the examples of the original art that I have made, you could probably see that my style kind of came from that. And that's another topic for some other day, because I've gotten a lot of requests about how to develop your own style as a young kid or as a young creative. So we'll dive deep into that in those other videos. This video is going to be extremely loose, extremely easy, super relaxing, just chill. So I am going to start with some shapes probably. I love drawing shapes, I love drawing letters, I love drawing people, so I don't even know what I'm going to do. So let's start with that. Lately, what I've been enjoying is I love to draw intersecting shapes. So something like this, where each shape is intersecting with the shape that's next to it, and there is absolutely no guideline. And this is probably, I would say, the number one lesson behind making this video, especially as a young artist. And I struggle with this all the time, is you do something and either you think it's cool or not, and then you go online and on the internet, whether you're looking on Pinterest or whether you're looking anywhere else, you look at other people's stuff and you find that so cool and you feel like, oh my God, I'm not doing anything in my life. I'm a failure. And then oftentimes we forget that not only everybody's path is different, but also those people are probably way ahead of you in terms of experience and the time they have put in. So in a way, you are comparing your chapter 2 of your book to somebody's chapter 42 of their book, and you don't know what they went through. Maybe they struggled more than you, but they put more time in it. Whatever it is, you have to take inspiration from that, but not let it kill you. And I struggle with this too. And one of the things that helps me the most is doing something like this, where I would just come and have no guidelines, most of the times no inspiration or not looking at anything, because I let my original thoughts just flow. So this helps a lot for young creatives just to nurture their creativity and quote unquote finding your style. So I just absolutely enjoy drawing shapes, no guidelines, nothing whatsoever. So this is my knack for shapes. And then I also absolutely enjoy typography. So I would probably make my own fonts on paper and just enjoy doing that. So for example, I will write an A like this. Sometimes give it a 3D look and sometimes not. But I'm trying to keep the look coherent. Meaning when I draw on one piece of paper with something like this where I don't have any guidelines, I try to keep the look similar. Meaning I can draw this A in 100 more types. But I would probably not do that because it will look very different with the other shapes that I have already drawn and the other shapes that I have in mind. So I will just try to keep the look coherent here. And this is an exercise that you can do regardless of your style. Meaning, if you paint, sometimes paint something with no plan in mind. Just do something different. These are all different topics where I will hit in other videos. But for now, these are just quick snippets that's coming to my mind. And one of the other things that I absolutely enjoy is I write words or alphabets backwards. I have started loving that. And I often try to give myself this quote unquote challenge that I don't plan anything at all. And you can see this, especially in this, what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to have every other shape or alphabet or numbers, whatever we're going to draw on this, intersect each other. So that's like this, not planned, but still a rule that I'm going to give myself. And like I said, I already know the two things that I've decided for this is one, they're going to intersect. And the second is I'm not going to use an eraser for this. So we are sure about that much. That's kind of cool. Another thought that I'm getting while doing this is that no matter what you want to learn or what you do has this unexplained basic in it. For example, if you want to get rich or if you want to have money, you have to save more than you spend. Or you have to invest in things that make your money grow more than you spend. So this is like the baseline of anybody who wants to have money. Meaning you have to have more money and then spend less. Keep more, spend less. That's the basic of it. And then you can go into different avenues to layer on that. When it comes to fitness, if you have a particular goal, let's just say if you want to lose weight, for example, you have to be in a caloric deficit, meaning you have to eat less calories and spend more calories and you will lose weight. That's the basic of it. And then how you do it, what kind of diet you want to have and what kind of exercises you do, that all comes on top of that basic block of your understanding of your subject matter. So everything, no matter what you think it is, has a layer of a basic block of understanding, and then you build on top of that. And as you start doing it, not only you read more about it, so you gain more knowledge, but when you actually practically do it, you do something good and then you fail at something. So when you fail at something, you see what went wrong, and you bring it back in and you add it to the do's. So your practical experience of the good and bad mixed with the knowledge of whatever you want to do adds to the basic block of your understanding. In drawing, what I'm going to tell you is the basic of drawing and illustration, and then depending upon your experience, your taste, what you want to do, the kind of materials you use, you're drawing on paper or you're drawing digitally, whatever it is adds on top of that. And this is strictly in terms of drawing and illustration, not for graphic design, not for other things, not for painting, only and only for drawing. So no matter what kind of drawing it is, and no matter what style it is, it could be caricatures, it could be comics, it could be extremely detailed stuff, no matter what it is. And this is my personal idea, my personal take on this. Drawing is, or illustrating, when you draw something, so you're creating a line between 2 points. From here to here, you're creating a line between 2 points. And how you give the curve between those 2 points makes your illustration. And then it will, so I'll give you an example, but I don't want to mess that, so I'll give you an example here. So let's say this is 1 point and this is 1 point, and then you take a line like this. That's a different style of illustration. You make a line like this. That's a different style of illustration. Or you make lines like this. That's a different style of illustration. So when it comes to drawing, connecting 2 points, so let's say for example, if I'm drawing somebody's arm, so I love to draw fit people. So let's say I'm drawing their shoulder, their biceps, and their forearm, and their hands. So I'll start drawing the shoulder, and then I'm going to the biceps. This is the left hand, and then I will come in and I draw their hands, and I make it a closed fist. I usually like to give my characters a little bit of character, so like this. So you see here, what I said in this section happened multiple times during this drawing. So how I connected this point and this point made the shoulder. How I connected this point and this point made the bicep, and all the other details. So depending upon what kind of stroke you give, are you giving a nicer stroke? Are you giving an even stroke? Or are you trying to, let's say for example in comics usually the ends are very sharp because it mimics natural form. So if I do it like this, I'm still drawing the same thing, but you see how the feel of this and this is different? Because everything that I'm drawing here has the same line weight. So this is called a line weight. So this is a thicker line, this is a lighter line, and this is a stroke. So depending upon how thick your line is, calling it in professional terms the line weight, gives the look of your drawings. So you see, I drew the same thing, and we can do this 100 times, and if you go to look at art from different artists, this will differ. So I drew the same thing, I drew the left arm of a person from the shoulder to the hands, but see how it looks different? Because we applied the two things that I talked about here. Depends on how you connect 2 points, not only the curve, but the line weight, and then how much the curve you give, that determines your illustration. That is drawing in very basic terms. And now what we can do is we can go into more details, because usually when you see drawings, they give more details like this and they have some shading like this. Those are some advanced terms, so you have to keep that in mind. You have to learn first how to do the basics, and then as you experiment with different things, that's when you will develop your style and you'll get more in detail. So let's say you are a young artist who wants to learn how to draw, or who wants to improve how you want to draw. You should first just practice this, how much control you have over your strokes. Can you do this, what I'm doing, 100 times and all of them look the same? How much you practice every single day. So I will probably put this in a listed format and I'll break it down in another video, but I just wanted to say that because that was a very important point that I often get asked, and that is also very visible with what we are doing here. So I'm connecting this point to this point with a line. So here I'm connecting this, and I decided that I wanted to give this a curvature like this. If I wanted to draw and give it a curvature like this, that's different. So that's two different examples of how I'm going to draw. So that will give a different look to my drawing. And here for this, again, I'm keeping the line weight similar for everybody, because I'm not stroking like how comics would look. Everything kind of looks the same width. So you see how I connected two similar points, like this point and that point, differently, and that's how they look different. So if you keep that concept in mind, you'll probably do good regardless of what your style of drawing is. And again, like I said, this is the basic of drawing and illustration. You can try to deduce what this would be for painting. If you're into painting, what this would be, what are some basics for graphic design or animation or editing or whatever it is, whatever kind of art you're in. So keep that in mind. Now what I'm going to do is I want to write all the numbers here. I always get happy when I'm trying to draw a circle and it becomes so good. The key actually is going slow. I never understood this as a kid. I wanted to learn everything fast. I wanted to have everything today. And I still have that thought process in mind when I'm looking at bigger things as an adult. But I try to always tell myself that the sure shot way, and actually the shortest way to do something, is actually going slow and focusing on the details. So when I'm drawing a circle like this, I try to often keep that in mind. I usually go very, 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 very slow. And when you see me drawing something like this at such a pace, don't forget that this has come after 20 plus years of doing this. And you see the small detail here, I still screw up. So keep that in mind. I'm so happy that I'm doing this, because not only I'm getting something by doing something unplanned, like I'm really enjoying this, but I'm also thinking of all the lessons that I used to struggle with. And trust me when I say this, even if one person in the whole world would benefit from this. What happened? Did it turn off? So I don't know what happened, but the camera stopped recording. But what I was saying is, the main reason of me doing this is, even if one person across the whole world would benefit from this and start believing in yourself more and do something in their lives and not waste 10-15 years like me, I would be more than happy. I'm not selling anything at all. I absolutely enjoy doing this. What I'm showing you, I do that probably 10-15 times a day. And while I'm doing this and enjoying this, I'm sharing the kind of lessons that come to my mind, that I struggle with, that I learned by doing the right things, by doing the wrong things. And I wasted so much time doubting myself, not doing things. For example, not making this video, which could have been done 8 years ago. So I would say, believe a little more in yourself, more than you think. You're definitely capable of more. And then create a plan for yourself. What do you want your eventual life to look like? What kind of work do you want to do? What's your daily life looking like 10 years from now? How do you want to earn money? Do you want to be famous and rich? Or do you want to be just rich? Or you have enough money already and you just want to create art and help people? Whatever it is, get your final goal and then go back from there and see how your weeks should look like. See how your days should look like. So I'm trying to write the numbers. So I wrote them straight now. Now I'm in a mood of doing them italicized. So I'm going to do this. I have a weird habit of, when I start a stroke, if it's a closed looped structure or a closed looped alphabet or a number like how I am drawing right now, I like to do it at one go. I just feel so good when I do that. So for example, like how I'm doing this number 7 right now, when I put my pencil to the paper, I usually take it off once I'm done with the shape. And I absolutely enjoy it. I love it. And again, anybody who is thinking, oh my God, I can never do that, I'll tell you, you can. It's like what we said before. You might be comparing yourself to me, who has been doing this for the last 10, 15, 20 years. So believe in yourself and have a plan. That's all I would say. I am absolutely loving this. See, this is why I was talking to anybody who has, let's say you are watching this and you have nothing to do with drawing and you have nothing to do with anything creative and you have a job that has nothing to do with creativity, quote unquote. I still believe you have to be creative in your jobs regardless of what you do. But let's say you're a parent watching this and you have a job or you have any other job. I always say take out some time in your day and do something that you absolutely enjoy regardless of somebody's watching it or not, regardless of what's the end result. It could be dancing, it could be singing, it could be researching something, reading something, making something. I have known people who have done, I personally know a person who has worked 15 years as an engineer and is an amazing sculptor. So he takes clays and makes it into different kinds of shapes and has nothing to do with his job, and he doesn't sell it or anything like that, but he absolutely enjoys it. I used to do that when I was in dental school or when I was doing other jobs. I used to do 8, 10, 12 hours a job and I come back home and then just sketch for a while just to enjoy, and I would just lose the track of time, which is the concept of flow, which we will again in other videos come back later. I know another person who has worked 40 years in the accounting industry and she is an amazing baker. So just depends on what you want to do, but you should definitely take out some time in your life, in your day-to-day, and do something that you absolutely enjoy. I was told all my life growing up, my close relatives, my close friends, everybody told me that if I don't stop drawing, I would not be able to do anything in my life. You might have gone through that, and you might be going through that. Who knows? Sometimes you have to have this unshaken belief in yourself that sometimes, most of the times, nobody sees. Nobody. Legit nobody. And that could also include a lot of people that really care about you. That happened with me. When I switched from dentistry to doing this, a lot of people asked me directly, but a lot of people said indirectly. It was weird. Because when I don't do this, it actually weighs on me. And when I do this, it just makes me happy very differently. Let's say, for example, the way you love your parent is a very different way you would love your dog, or the way you love your spouse, if you have one, is a very different way you would love your close friend. So love comes in different ways. The same way, how you feel happy from different things makes you happy in different ways. And you cannot explain that very clearly in words. It has to be felt. And that's what happens when I draw like this. The very fact that there are no guidelines here and I'm enjoying this is amazing. And at the same time, I am trying to give you as many golden nuggets as I could with this. One of the other things that I have got a lot of requests about is taking a piece of work that I've already done in the last couple of years, and it could be a drawing or an animation or a graphic design example or a poster, whatever it is, and showing that, and then explaining to you the process of why I chose to do it the way I chose to do it, and then how I actually did it. So we'll dive into that. But first, we have to keep doing here what we are doing, and I am absolutely loving it. No kidding, this is like the best part of my day. I love the how this is coming up. Now I'm going to incorporate some shapes that we see in our daily lives. I and so many other artists out there are heavily attracted towards eyes, and rightfully so. Frankly speaking, I get my best inspiration from nature. So for example, you see this candle here? I am absolutely enthralled and amazed by the way this wick is of this particular length. It has those colors, and the way it's flickering, and the way the wax is melting, and the way the reflection is. And sometimes I take a photo of something like that and I just draw it or paint it. It's just so interesting to me. When I keep it in my hand, why is this area lighter than this area? Because of the light coming and the way the shadow is coming. And the way, if I put my hand over here, I have this particular angle of my hand that I am seeing from here, which is different from what you're seeing. And then why is the shadow the way it is? And if I'm closer to the light, the shadow gets bigger and blurrier. And when I'm getting closer to the surface, the shadow is smaller and sharper. So these are the things when you are illustrating, it's very important if you're going for a realistic look. So for example, if you in your drawing, your hand is like this, and you have a shadow coming on a wall or any other surface, and you know that that's the light source, for example, in this case, the bulb up there. And if you draw the shadow very sharp, that is not going to give you a very realistic look. So it's very important to look at your surroundings and why is the shadow looking like this now and why is the shadow looking like that now. And if you have that knack, you will never run out of inspiration because you'll go out, you'll see people, you'll see objects. The lighting changes all the time. That's another big lesson that has helped me majorly in my life. You're welcome. See, even here, when I drew this, the concept was this is a pin from bowling, so it's a bowling pin. So this that I drew over here, the idea was that whatever the shape is wrapped around that bowling pin. So that's why I drew it like this. If I drew it straight, it would not give you the feel and the look of a 3D object. And I'll show you an example. So I'll draw the same thing again. See this? So even this is curved here and this is curved here. So I'll draw these straight. See that big difference? This looks flat. This looks curved. So if you're going for drawing styles, you have to keep these things in mind. And this also could come from an observation when you go bowling and you see things like this. If you want to draw them 3D, you have to draw them like that. Whatever the object is, let's say the Sharpie over here, and the way it's written over there, it changes depending upon the angle. So that's what makes it look 3D. And often what I'll do is I'll take a shape, and let's say this is a block of wood, and I'm looking at it from this angle, looking at that. So the block will have some kind of depth. So that's why it will look like this. And if it's transparent, you won't be able to see these sides. Whereas, let's assume this exact shape, if it was just a frame, let's say a frame of a bed or something, and there was nothing inside, then I would draw it like this. And it's the same thing. So I'll draw it like this. But because it's just a frame and there's nothing inside, we can look through it. So this would come like this. See the difference? Here, it's an opaque object. We can't look for the stuff inside. And here is just a frame, so we can look inside. Those are some important concepts. And they all come with practice and learning. Practice and learning really go hand in hand, if you ask me. Because like I told you earlier, when you practice, you're actually doing things in the real world, and a lot of things will go right and a lot of things would go wrong. And then when you do the learning, not only will you learn new concepts, but you will also sometimes learn why something that you did worked and why it didn't work. So let's say I want to draw this candle. I'll take this and shape like this. And I want to draw the flame. And I want to draw the wick. And I want to draw the existing wax. I have to text my wife to keep the volume of the TV down because I can hear it over here. All right. And this is the exact area where the wax is melting. And I like to give it a little razzle dazzle. That's pretty cool. I love it. All right. Okay, what other shapes I can think of? So right now, what came to my mind was the 4 shapes when you play cards. So that's what I'm drawing right now. No kidding, when I was learning how to draw, I used to draw something hundreds of times. Like, no kidding, hundreds of times. I see something like this and I feel so good about it. But I remember when I was a kid, I used to see something and I wanted to draw. And I used to get so frustrated when I couldn't draw it. Man, you just gotta keep at it. That's all I would say. I want to see what's around me so that I can draw more of it. All right. So there is a dummy cake around me that my wife makes. So I'm gonna just draw that. It is a multi-layered cake. So this is the perspective I'm seeing. And I am going to draw that. And the same thing when you look from the top. So this is a side view, but when you see the same thing from the top, it'll be just circles, just concentric circles. So it'll be the top view, and then the next one, and the next one. So these are the 3 layers, and then this last one, which is the base, they would just appear as 4 circles. And then this is how we usually cut them. Oh, that reminds me of a knife. So let's draw a knife. A basic knife is a handle and a shape like that. So, and I usually like to draw knives like this. This kind of feels like a dagger more than a knife. And on the grip, I usually try to give the look of it has some sort of wrapping on it, like a leather wrap. I like to draw it like that. That's cool. And then usually I have like some drops of blood. Man, that's awesome. Alright, cool. What else is around me? Alright, a bottle. So I have a jar or a bottle or whatever you want to think of. The first form protein powder, which I'm just gonna draw that. By the way, best protein powder that I've ever tasted. So you might want to try that out. So that was around me, and I want to draw lightning coming out of it. And when there is lightning, we should definitely have some clouds. And a little bit of sun. Again, my God, this is giving me flashbacks. Growing up, drawing a sun like this was a big deal to me. I used to draw it like a circle and then a line like that. So I clearly remember the first time I drew a sun like this. It was insane. And I also clearly remember I was 8 years old and I had some sort of a Disney book at home, and I drew one particular character without using the eraser. I could never forget that. I clearly remember where I was, what time of day it was, and when I drew this, I was just so proud of myself. I think regardless of your age, and I often forget this too, regardless of your age, you should always give yourself a little nudge to do something different or challenging every once in a while. It's good for you. There are so many studies, there's a lot of psychology behind it, that people who do something slightly outside their comfort zone, it's not like I have never run and I want to run a marathon next week. I've never run and I want to give myself a goal to run a mile in one go without stopping by next week. So that's something slightly above your comfort zone, which you have to work for. And if you do that, if you plan something like that for yourself and you give yourself a date to do that and you actually accomplish it, it does a lot for your psyche. You should try it. Talking about psyche, I'm going to draw a very, 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 very simple representation of a brain. There you go. All right, so we're getting more detailed. I don't want to get very detailed on this particular example, so I'm just gonna fill with more spread out examples. So since we did a dagger, I'm going to do a spear. Since you can comment here, I would personally absolutely love if you can give a comment on what I said, a memory that you could think of that was in line with what I said, something positive, something negative. If it made you think of something that you implemented in your life that was beneficial for you, or other ideas where you would want me to draw something, feel free. Feel free to give me suggestions. I would love that. All right, I think we are good here, but I still want to use this area. And I want to think of regular shapes that I can implement here. Oh my God, how I didn't draw this. Lately, I have been obsessed. With drawing flames. So next time probably I'll do a paper like this and I'll just draw flames on it. That'll be insane. I don't even know if I could do that. I've never done it before. But here is a flame coming out of a matchstick. I love how fluid the shape of a flame is, and like we have talked earlier, depending upon your style of drawing, you can draw something in multiple different ways. Well, if we are drawing a sun, why not a star? What else? What else? What else? What else? I don't even know how much time have passed, and that is the best part of doing this. I love this. This is the best part of doing this. I legit don't know how long I have been doing this. I'll probably look at this while I'm editing this. But this is called the concept of flow, where you're doing something, you lose track of space and time. And I absolutely encourage you to do something like that. And it's different for different people. Some people find that when they are watching a movie. Some people find that when they're cooking, when they're reading. I don't know what it would be for you, but find that. Find that for yourself. I thought that I would probably draw this and color this in the same setting, but that is not going to happen right now because I have to go eat. I am starving right now, but I'm gonna still cover here as much as I can. What else is around me? I can see more pipes. I'm sitting in my basement, so I'm just seeing pipes and blocks of wood and pipes and electrical lines and stuff like that. But because everything is at a different angle, it's kind of encouraging me to do something different. I love to connect one shape to another. It's just very, 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 very interesting to me because there is no guideline. Whew. This is pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Drawing all kinds of shapes here. Let us draw a hexagon. Oh, that was cool. That's a triangle. Obviously, we have a lot of squares and rectangles. Let's draw a trapezoid, a parallelogram. Old geometry classes, huh? A pie shape, semicircle. This is interesting. I am so happy that I did this. I hope you get something out of it, and let me know what you would want to see more of. I am still going to make it look more cohesive over here. Should I put this for sale after coloring it? This is interesting. This is very interesting. I didn't realize like I would enjoy so much doing this. I personally feel the people who just do things and don't not necessarily do it for money. Of course you should have money. I want money. Everybody wants money. But I feel the people who create with the independence of the factor of money, I think they create better. That's just my opinion. I would 100% make more videos like this. And I completely forgot to tell you that everything that I do at my job right now, graphic design, illustration, animation, design, Photoshop, this and that, everything was learned from the internet. So I would hope to give you lessons not only technical and philosophical, regardless of whether you are a young artist or you are a parent or you know somebody who is a budding artist, regardless of their age, that I could give you so much value here that you would not need to go to college to learn something like that. Because I'm coming from a practical point of view where I've learned everything online and I've used that to make a good life and a good career and a good job for myself. That is the goal here. As much as I can see, I have every other shape intersecting with each other and it has a coherent look. I will give a close-up shot of this. And if you see anything that's not intersecting with anything around it, let me know. But as much as I know, I have done that. I have never done this on such a big piece of paper. I usually do this on very small. This has taken way longer than I expected. But I didn't want this video to be, oh my God, you have to do these 5 things to become the next millionaire with your art. You gotta do these 4 things. And if you're not doing this by the next Monday, you are failing in life. Lots of effects, lots of editing, blah, 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 blah. I'm sick and tired of watching those videos. And most of those people are not even artists, are not even creators. They are curators. There's a difference between creator and a curator. A creator is who creates things. A curator is somebody who curates, meaning puts together information from different parts of one particular subject. So most people that you see online are not content creators. They are content curators. You need to understand that. Is the person that is giving you advice in whatever terms, has that person done anything that you know of which solidifies the fact that you should listen to them? I can draw that like this, and I make a living because of my drawing and my graphic design skills and the way I see things. I make a living out of it. That's why I am telling you those things. I am not a millionaire yet. So if I make a video, I can make a great video. Oh, these are the 17 steps you should do to become a millionaire by next Wednesday. And I can create a great video out of it. But am I a millionaire to give you that kind of advice? I know a person personally who makes this cool setup and very great lighting and soft, and he's telling you, oh, you should not fear, you should go for your dreams, this and that, and he hasn't done anything in his life. And a lot of people watching this know who I'm talking about. That is why I respect people like Annie Frisella, who has done things in their life, and then he's giving advice in terms of personal development or business on how to get rich, because he has done all those things for the last 25 years. And then there are people who haven't done anything, just sit in front of camera and just give advice. I have been drawing it for the most part of my life. I would say as long as I remember myself, like I told you, more than 20 plus years. I have been drawing like this every single freaking day. And that's why I'm giving you advice. Not only how you can improve on whatever your art form is, but also how to actually make a living doing this. How you have to position yourself. What kind of examples do you have to put out there, and where are you putting those examples? Are you positioning yourself right? Have you practiced enough? Are you presenting yourself in a great way to position yourself for that? So I'll stop at this, otherwise I'll keep drawing on every single millimeter of this paper. So this is the final look, and probably in the next video I'll go in and color this, or I would probably draw something different. Put in the comments what you want to see, and create, practice, and learn.